Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It's press conference day, it's media day. Pioli still needs to release his one because I believe Milan is travelling to Rome at time of speaking. De Rossi and Captain Pellegrini released Roma's press conference this morning. They were interviewed at around lunchtime. And I must say that this press conference, I actually enjoyed it because I think the word to describe this press conference is human. I think both De Rossi's questions and both De Rossi's responses, but also in a way the topics that were asked in this question were human topics. You know, they were humane topics. But I know I normally do focus on the manager's press conference in these reaction videos. I really want to focus on Pellegrini's as well, because I think Pellegrini today released a massive press conference in terms of the importance of it. I think it's the classic press conference that you expect from a captain, and I was very surprised by it, because I always thought Pellegrini was, in terms of his communication levels, he was never amazing. I always think that was the weakest point on Pellegrini. I never thought it was on the pitch. I always thought it was on his leadership and just the way he communicated. But I think this press conference proved me and us wrong, because it was a very, 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 very immense press conference from him, where he actually touched on some very big phrases. I mean, he said some very big things, powerful things, which we're going to get into. But as always, I'm going to set a little target. I don't ask for much. I just ask for likes. So if you do want to support the channel, you don't need to do anything. It's free. You just need to hit the like, share the channel with your friends and family, and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, it's quite a long one, so get your snacks and drinks, because it's not going to be a short one. I do want to start with De Rossi, and then I do want to talk about what Pellegrini said. The first question is, of course, it had to be on the Ndika situation. How is Ndika? And do you think you've also given a lesson of humanity in such a delicate moment? So De Rossi said, Ndika's fine, and that's the most important thing as far as how well we can all feel after he suffered the chest trauma, which is annoying. It's an annoying little injury, but it's not like the one that scared us and that everybody thought he had during the game. I think everyone can learn what they want from it. We received a lot of compliments for something that, in my vision, is very normal. Together, I managed the players and the staff, and we decided that the situation wasn't sensible to us. The circumstances of the game weren't sensible to us, and we thought that interrupting the game was the most sensible thing to do. If anyone wants to learn a lesson from this, it means that we are in a bad way as a world and as a society. Someone has been something... I think and I hope that any coach would have reacted like me. Any player would have bristled at the idea of playing without knowing if one of your teammates had suffered a blow, or, as the CPR guy told us in the moment on the pitch, he had a heart attack. There is that doubt that does not allow you to count of respect for everyone. There are no teachings from this. You have to do what you feel like you want to do. Nobody wanted to continue in that moment. The decision was not made by me, but by all of us, supported by the club on the sidelines. Nice to see that we are a family even in these moments. So yeah, that's, I don't really want to comment on this, because we devoted a lot of live streams on Ndika's updates. Ndika's fine. He had a few more checks this morning at Villa Stuart, which is Roma's loyal clinic. And the tests that he carried out this morning do also emphasize, just like the ones he had a few weeks ago, that it wasn't a cardiological problem, it wasn't a heart attack, it was a lung compression due to Luka's elbow hit. But in terms of, Roma and Udinese received a lot of gratitude on this, a lot of compliments on this. But I think, as De Rossi said, if all of these compliments make you happy, but also make you realize that how underdeveloped society is nowadays, because that's exactly what had to happen. It's not about compliments or not. It's about somebody could have potentially, and everybody thought that somebody's life was at risk. So the most important thing to do back then was to interrupt the game, because some priorities are different from playing a football game. And I think again, this was spot on from Daniele. Now onto the game. I mean, I have to be very honest. I'm a bit scared for tomorrow's game. I don't like fear, and I agree with everybody who says that we shouldn't be scared. In fact, I normally say it in these live streams. But I'm a bit scared because for the past 7 years, 7 years, Milan has always beaten us. So on paper, Milan tomorrow can easily win tomorrow's game. So can we. But speaking about the game, I think our advantage is a very minimal advantage. I think anybody who says that Roma is through to the semi-finals just because we won at San Siro, I actually think they're wrong. I think if I had to give some percentage scales tomorrow, I'd give 51% to Roma, 49% to Milan. It can't be more than that because Milan have beaten us for the past 5 years. They know how to beat us. We need to play our game. We need to play our concentrated game, and we need to aim to win and not to play for a draw. So speaking about the game, everything was perfect in the first leg. How do you prepare for the return leg? In this very interesting question lies the essence of this work and this job. There is always you being on the lookout for something that can work, but there is the fear of doing too much. There are characteristics of opponents and teams that we face that always must be respected, and understanding how much something has worked before, understanding how much it can be overturned by the other coach. Also, because at San Siro last week, we didn't win 7-0. We played a good match, but so did Milan. It was a balanced game, but we did a little bit better. We can think that something like attitude or interpreters will change. We must carefully measure what we are going to prepare, but without distorting anything. Lidom once said, "I put them on the pitch very well, then they move by themselves and everything can change." We cannot prepare some things because otherwise Pioli will counter. I know what he means here is I cannot tell you what I have prepared because otherwise Pioli is gonna understand how to tackle these problems. But the one thing that De Rossi is telling us here is that we're not gonna distort ourselves. In a sense that, as you said yesterday, as we said yesterday, I think this game, you need to change a few things from the first leg, because I think Milan, if we stick everything like we did in the first leg, and I mean tactics, formations and everything else, Milan have prepared using the way De Rossi played in the first leg to prepare this game. So I think repeating and copying every single movement, every single tactic, every single formation into tomorrow's game could be a mistake, because Pioli would have prepared tomorrow's game on the formation and on how he saw Roma last week. We need to change a few things. We need to come up with more genius moves. And as he said, De Rossi, in this very interesting question that you asked, lies the essence of a genius manager, coming up with genius moves to counter and surprise Pioli. With that being said, however, we can't distort ourselves too much and we can't change the majority of things. Otherwise, we're going to be a completely different version from our version of the first leg. And that can also lead to a mistake. So the key here is change a few things, but also keep the core and the trunk of the first leg. Because again, Milan ain't Feyenoord, Milan ain't Brighton, Milan aren't Sassuolo or Sampdoria. Milan are a team which for the past 5 years has always beaten us. So the advantage that we have is a minimal advantage. One goal that Milan score, everything's back equal. And in recent times, Milan has always scored against us, home and away. So that's the thing that makes me a little scared, because Milan have got experience of these games. You look at that group stage and some games that they played in that Champions League group stage. That group stage was a tough group stage. If PSG and Dortmund are both in a semi-final, it means that group stage was quality. And the fact that Milan one against PSG, one away at Newcastle. They can turn up in these games. So it's very wrong to think that our advantage is a big advantage, because it's not. And it can influence the game. Third question. On Cristante's absence, is Bove going to start? And also, have you heard the audio and the video of Eduardo, the fan, struggling with his life, as we discussed yesterday, who is dreaming for Roma to lift the Europa League trophy? This is where the emotions come in. First question is about Cristante's absence. Bove coming in, what will change? Bove will play tomorrow. I have faith in him. The choice I will make and the way I play will not change based on Cristante's absence. It's important for us, but Bove will come out at the end of the match with his shirt completely soaked, because he's an excellent player, which I trust, and we want him to have a good match because he deserves it. Faith, pumping him up with confidence. Tomorrow can be a very big game for Bobby. He's got the legs. He's got the stamina. He's got the fighting spirit. Tomorrow we need attack. We need to attack. We need to fight. We need to defend. I think Bobby tomorrow can have a very, very, very crucial part. And then obviously the other part of the question is about the story that I told you about yesterday, which I think a lot of fans have, a lot of you guys have seen on the media. It went viral about this fan called Eduardo, who called in into this call-in program and basically said how he's got a terminal disease, and that the date that the clinic offered him to kind of put him away with his euthanasia was the 22nd of May, and the 22nd of May is the date of a hypothetical Europa League final. And Eduardo is his dream, last wish and hope is Roma, his team, to lift the Europa League. And of course, when one thing goes viral, then one person sees it, that person shares it to another person, that shares it to another person, that guy posts it on an Instagram, 20 people comment, and then those 20 people share it, and then slowly, step by step, it reaches Roma, it reaches the players, it reaches De Rossi, and it reaches Lina Soluku and the ownership as well. So this is what De Rossi says. I can't promise a win because it's something which you can't promise. But I promise to you, Eduardo, that the team and I will put effort in tomorrow's game and in every single game that we play from now until the end of the season. It's something that touched us, and we're trying to find Eduardo if he wants to be found. We don't even know how to, because it's a very delicate thing. If Eduardo is watching this, you can contact us. There are a lot of former colleagues around De Rossi which sent him the video. And one of them was Viviano, the ex-Sampdoria goalkeeper, who wrote to me in tears. We can't do more than look for him. If he wants to meet us, we're here. So yeah, I mean, it's you can't promise a win. It's Eduardo's dream. It's my dream, and I think it's your dream. And I think it's not something that you promise. And I think this is not a it's not an easy answer, because the majority of people, when asked these questions, go, "We're gonna try and win for you." What De Rossi can promise, and what I think the team can promise to Eduardo, but to all of us, is putting effort in every single game, fighting to maybe make his dream and this objective that we all have of lifting this Europa League possible. Obviously, they want to give Eduardo something. They've invited him. Apparently, they haven't still managed to reach out to him. But yeah, I mean, they will definitely find him, and they will probably, if we reach a final, get him a ticket for Dublin. Absolutely do, if we do reach the final. But yeah, I mean, moving on to Pellegrini, because that's De Rossi. Pellegrini today had a masterclass of a press conference. Roma and Real Madrid are the only two teams who have made 4 European semi-finals in recent years. Does the reference have to be that? I think that this is what De Rossi wants to convey to us. He said that phrase because they are important matches, but other times people think that the other games are less important because they are league games and they're not European games against teams that are not big names. De Rossi meant that these matches are the ones that allow you to play the following year against the teams that we want to face next season. A strong team plays a game against Milan in the same way as they do any league game. Even if it may seem less important on the outside, for us, it's the same thing. We need to work on this and improve, and the coach can give us a lot. The truth is that we have made important progress in Europe, but we have failed in the league in recent years, and this must not happen for a team like Roma. Roma are important and must compete at the highest levels to play against the teams they deserve to play with. The goal is to get Roma back to where they deserve to be and where they belong, and we are working towards this. And this is probably the thing that Roma and players, Pellegrini, need to improve, sharing and the same devotion and attention to European games as to league games, because a big team goes well in the league and in Europe as well. And I think this statistic of Roma and Real Madrid being the only two teams who have made 4 consecutive European semi-finals in recent years is big, because this is Roma and this is Real Madrid. It's like comparing an ant to an elephant. You don't expect us to be in that podium, but we are. And we are preserving the last values of football in a repetitive era of football, in a world of football where money and dominance and repetitiveness kind of outweigh everything else. Passion and traditional values, this is who we are. And we are showing the world that you don't have to reach these positions only if you have money, but the most ingredient in this game is football. And I think that's a massive stat. It's a massive stat also on the budget that the two teams have. But as Pellegrini said, you know, the thing that Roma needs to improve on is playing league games giving the same devotion to league games as they do in European games. Because in European games, if we play every league game like we do European games, we'd be fighting for the league year in and year out. But the problem has always been lack of consistency, especially the weekend after a European game. Second question around Pellegrini is, there have been stories that have questioned your relationship with fans and with your previous manager, Mourinho. Do you want to share some thoughts on it? I think this is a shit question. I think this is a dumb question, because what do you think Pellegrini is going to do? Tell you if he had conflicts with Mourinho? Do you think Pellegrini is going to tell you if Mourinho left him his ring in his wardrobe? No, he's not. This is a question trying to, and hopefully, if you're a journalist, you ask this question trying to get answers that you will never get. And Pellegrini said, I want to answer you without answering you. I am what you see and what everybody sees. Many people tell me they appreciate my transparency. In here, as you have understood, I have an important role. It's not just about putting the armband every single weekend for every single game. What I feel like saying is that I would never disrespect Roma, because Roma gave me my entire life and gave me everything in life. I can say what I have done, which will always be for the good of Roma. That is what a captain says. And that's a very, 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 very big statement. Because what Pellegrini is effectively saying here is that he's signing his future to Roma. He hasn't publicly said, I'm going to stay here till the day I die. But that's what he's foreshadowing. You know, what he said here is, I'm going to answer you because I know what you want. The guy who asked the question effectively wanted an answer to, did Mourinho leave you his ring in your locker room with a message saying, return it to me when you grow some balls? That's effectively the answer that he wanted. And Pellegrini could never say that, could never agree to that, or even say yes or no. And what Pellegrini used this question is to emphasize that fans might not see this, but you know, this is who I am. So I would never disrespect Roma, because Roma gave me everything in life. And what I will say is that in the future, I will always and will keep on doing what is best for Roma. And I think that's a little step close to saying, I want to be here for life. It's a big statement, because, you know, Zaniolo said this as well, and Zaniolo's story ended. There are only 2 players which said this and respected the promise. And these players are our current manager and Francesco Totti. The rest of players, it's very easy to say this, but then can you actually respect this? So it's going to be very interesting to see if Pellegrini can manage to put an oath of loyalty to his words. But Pellegrini recently has been phenomenal, which is the third question which got asked to him, which is, what is De Rossi giving you more than what other managers gave you? Each manager has its own particularities and teaches you something that then stays with you forever. There was already a certain type of relationship with me and De Rossi, but beyond this, because we were both footballers, and now one of them is a coach. Daniele amazed me from many points of view because I've only considered him a professional who would then become a coach. And I've always had the belief that he would become a coach that everybody envies and envies. I didn't think he was already so ready. I'm a little less surprised now because I'm getting used to it. We are all very happy. We prepare matches well all together. We trust him. And for De Rossi, we throw ourselves into a fire. That's another big statement. It's the most important thing for a coach to know, that his ideas reach people who have the characteristics to receive them. The quote here is, of course De Rossi changed him because the performances show it, and the statistics and the goals that he scored with De Rossi show it. But the little phrase that you focus on here is, we trust him. For De Rossi, we throw ourselves into a fire. That's what a captain says, and that's why I'm very surprised by how Pellegrini has dealt with this press conference, because with this press conference, Pellegrini has shown us that he can lead this team. Previously, I didn't think Pellegrini was able to do this, and I always believed that his communication skills weren't amazing. But yeah, it's big. For De Rossi, we throw ourselves in the fire. And that's kind of contrasting what the previous question was. Because if there were any doubts that Pellegrini, was the reason Mourinho got sacked, then now, with a new manager, I can tell you that I'm prepared to throw myself into a fire for him. Which kind of contradicts and says that maybe this changement around this environment was needed. This week you have Pellegrini who says, for De Rossi, we are ready to throw ourselves in a fire. Last week you have Dybala who says, we're enjoying life with De Rossi and I hope to continue working with him in the future. This is the realization of a changement that was needed. This is the realization that changing manager was the most, was probably the most difficult, but probably the most needed option for these players who feel reborn, who had been exhausted by Mourinho because the cycle had come to an end. And now with De Rossi, he's getting praises over praises in press conferences and everything. So, yeah, all together for one objective, all together to reach another semi-final, all together for everything that we've ever wished for. Tomorrow, we need 11 Lions. Tomorrow we need 11 players that throw themselves in fire for De Rossi, but for the badge and for the fans. Tomorrow we need to play as if the first leg never happened, or in fact, even better, we need to play as if we lost the first leg 3-0. Mentality is going to be massive. The fans are going to be there. I will be there. So set the notification button so you'll be notified if the vlog will come out later tomorrow evening. If you haven't already, please do hit the like. It supports the channel a lot. Please do it. If we can get 100 likes on this video, it would be absolutely amazing. Hit the like, subscribe to Roma Theory. Follow Roma Theory TV on Instagram over there at Roma Theory TV. And I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Sleep tight, even though it's going to be hard to sleep. It's one of those white nights tonight. It's not going to be easy sleeping tonight because anxiety is going to be big. And I think anxiety is big because if we were to win tomorrow, if we were to qualify for the semi-final tomorrow, I think it's very big because I think it's the first European tie in 4 years where on paper we were never the favourites. So if you qualify and eliminate Milan, it's going to taste 10 times better, and the vlog is going to be 10 times better, and our weekend is going to be 10 times better, and our mood is going to be 10 times better. And just everything we do is going to be 10 times better. Because on paper, we were not the favourites on this tie. Now we've got a minimal advantage. It's about keeping this. It's about locking it up and securing more goals, more attacks. So yeah, I think, which is why I'm a bit scared. Because Milan in recent years is probably the tie where they're the favourites. And I think they can win the game. I normally say when we play a second leg at the Olimpico, I normally say we're gonna win 100%. But this time round, I'm not gonna say it because I know that we've got the quality to beat them. But I also respect Milan because I think Milan can easily beat us as well. Which is why I'm not gonna be that confident this time and say that we're gonna win 100%. You know, when I did it, when I said this in recent times, it normally ended up really well. I said this with Feyenoord last season and we eliminated them. I said this with Feyenoord this season and we eliminated them. I said this with Brighton and we eliminated them. This time around, I think it's harder. This time around, it's more complicated, and it's where the real test comes in. And it's those European games and European nights that us Roma fans live for. So yeah, up the boys, up the Roma, for us, for the city of Rome, for everybody, for the badge, for the colours, for Eduardo, for the players, for Daniele. Do it for us. Make us proud because we want to write history again. I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe, and talk to you soon. See you, out.